Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy Daniel de La Pelota en la Cabeza. Gracias nuevamente por su sintonía. Recuerden de suscribirse al canal. También pueden seguirme en Twitter y leer mis notas en lapelotaenlacabeza.com. Lo que tengo hoy puesto es la camiseta del Leyton Orient, el que es el próximo rival del famoso, conocido, poderoso Manchester City. Yo soy hincha del Leyton Orient ya desde hace bastante. Entonces, como se viene ahora ese próximo encuentro que es por la FA Cup, el sábado que viene, el 9 de febrero, decidí tener un invitado especial. Él se llama Paul Levy. Él tiene un podcast que es el Orient Outlook y él, digamos, va a estar explicando acerca de lo que es la historia del equipo, de dónde son específicamente, el crecimiento del equipo. Y bueno, yo les cuento un poco cómo me hice yo, cómo es que me hice hincha de este equipo. En el FIFA 2005 era. Estaba buscando, no habían todavía, en aquella época no estaban los equipos de Argentina. Entonces buscaba en modo carrera un equipo que sea rojo y blanco y con un escudo redondo. Y empecé a buscar y busqué distintas divisiones, distintos países. Y de repente crucé con el escudo de Leyton Orient, que son estos dos dragones y creo que es una pelota ahí en el medio. Y como que me llamó la atención y vi que el color era rojo y blanco. Dije, bueno, voy a empezar a jugar con este equipo. Empecé a jugar y yo soy medio calentón, si quieren decirlo. Empecé a jugar modo carrera, y empecé a gritar los goles del equipo como si estuviese realmente viendo los partidos. Y ahí me di cuenta que dije, ¿sabes qué me parece? Me hice hincha. La cosa es que bueno, esto fue 2004, 2005, entonces no había internet como hay ahora. Adelantamos los tiempos, ahora fue reciente 2022, 2023 fue que me reconecté con el equipo. Lo que no sabía es que podías ver partidos por internet, o sea, por la página. Cada equipo inglés tiene su página partidaria. Me enganché primero con Bolton porque me dio la curiosidad de saber Bolton. Se me dio por buscarlos un día, se me cruzó y dije, ¿qué será la vida del equipo este Bolton Wanderers? Que cuando yo era adolescente yo estaba en la Premier y ahí me di cuenta el equipo había descendido a la cuarta división con un montón de problemas económicos, le debían plata a los jugadores y ahí vi que también estaba Leyton Orient. Entonces vi el ascenso de Bolton, pero a la vez el resultado de Leyton Orient y dije, bueno, esta temporada que era la siguiente me voy a sentar a verlos. No lo hice de entrada porque habían empezado a ganar un montón de partidos y de repente dije, bueno, ver un partido, después le voy a contar la historia ahí con nuestro invitado, pero ahí van a poder escuchar un poco más la historia acerca de eso. Y ahora, bueno, me la paso viendo básicamente todos los fines de semana. Estoy viendo todos los partidos de Leyton Orient. Y bueno, ya me hice hincha básicamente. Y ahora el equipo está en una posición muy expectante. Aparte, no es solamente porque estén ganando, es por cómo están jugando. El sábado pasado le ganaron a Reading 2-0, pero por cómo jugaron podría haber sido fácil 4-0 y ganaron ahora el martes de visitante 6-2. Ganaban 4-0 el primer tiempo. Están, la verdad, que muy afilados y quedan 19 fechas. Así que los dejo con la entrevista con mi invitado y recuerden de suscribirse. Que tengan un buen día. Y bien, estamos con Paul Levy, es del podcast Orient Outlook, es hincha de Leyton Orient. Yo, como les comenté, no soy hincha del equipo, me hice hincha ya hace un buen tiempo, así le quiero agradecer el tiempo a Paul. La entrevista va a ser obviamente en inglés y va a ser traducida al mismo tiempo. So, Paul, thank you for your time and welcome to the channel.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm very grateful.
So, how do you see the season so far of Leyton Orient? ¿Cómo estás viendo la temporada de Leyton Orient?
Sí, es muy bien, muy bien. Very much above expectations of most fans, if not all fans.
Básicamente está diciendo que, digamos, superó las expectativas de todos. That's very true.
Yeah,
Especially the way the season started and the way it's been going, it wasn't expected. Les
absolutely.
comento un poco, Leyton Orient arrancó la temporada perdiendo muchos partidos. Estaba en el puesto, they were 22nd, right? Back in November.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
21st. We dropped to
Estaban en el
four.
puesto 21 con una diferencia de gol de -6 y el momento de grabar este episodio fue el 30 de enero. El equipo se encuentra en la sexta posición con una diferencia de gol de +16. Así es un cambio rotundo. Yeah, so they went from basically -6 to being now +16 at a goal differential, all within like 2 months, which is crazy.
It's absolutely mucho fantastico,
It is.
because we had a very tough start to the season. We had 5 or 6 games that were considerably tougher than other run-ins, and obviously football is about momentum. And we had played well, but had made mistakes and got punished.
Básicamente está diciendo Paul, o sea, el equipo, o sea, como arrancó, estaban perdiendo varios partidos. Es verdad, perdían los partidos por, me acuerdo, eran 1-0, 2-1, se los perdían por errores muy puntuales y el equipo andaba mal.
Yeah, and we weren't getting the points to reflect how well we'd played in games. We were getting punished for the mistakes that we were making, other than Shrewsbury, where we lost 3-0 and played really badly. And
I
then,
remember that game.
yeah, and then in like late November, early December, I tell you, it was the Oldham game that flipped.
Sí, no, o sea, estaban cometiendo errores muy puntuales y los rivales no estaban perdonando un solo partido que habían jugado realmente mal, que fue contra un equipo llamado Shrewsbury, que fue 3-0, fue algo inesperado de visitante. Y después fue un partido, so let me tell you, I'm sure because I've been, leaving comments to you guys. November 23rd was the last game I watched. And then the following week, like, because the games here go like at 7 in the morning. And so I woke up, I was like, man, it's like 7:10, 7:20. I'm like, let me check. And I think they're already winning. So that's it. I'm not going to watch. And then that's when that whole thing started. I'm not watching. They won. Así les comento. Hasta el 23 de noviembre yo había estado viendo todos los partidos. Los partidos acá en California van a las 7 de la mañana. Y justo esa mañana me desperté, eran como las 7:10, 7:20 de la mañana, iban ganando. Entonces dije, listo, yo no voy a ver. Y como habían empezado a ganar, dije, listo, no los veo hasta que vuelvan a perder. And I gotta tell you, the one game, I was like, if they're gonna lose a game and end this streak, let it be that Stevenage game, about the one game that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they lost, now I can watch it. Y perdieron un partido por una copa doméstica, no la FA Cup. What's the other cup name that you guys have in England? It's not the FA Cup, it's the...
No, so there's 3 cups. There's the FA Cup, which is everyone in the country, every football team registered with the FA can play. Then there's a cup called the Virtu. It's sponsored by the Virtu Trophy, sponsored by Virtu, who are a car company, which is for League One, League Two, and the under 21 academy sides from Premier Leagues. And then there's the Carabao Cup, which is just for Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two.
Oh, ok. En Inglaterra entonces hay, digamos, hay 3 copas domésticas. Está la FA Cup, que es la que conocen todos. Después está la... It's called Virtue Cup, right?
It's sponsored by Virtu.
Okay.
It's called the Virtu Trophy, but it's the Football League Trophy.
Ok, es el trofeo del Football League, que es básicamente los equipos de la League One, League 2. Y Under 23, right?
Sí.
Y sub-23 de
Premier
los
League.
equipos de la Premier. Entonces Leyton Orient había jugado esa copa, es una copa como que dije, si van a perder un partido sean esa copa. Y después, and then there's one more cup of Carabao, which is for Premier League and Champion, right?
The 4 professional leagues. So that's Premier League, Championship, Ligue 1 y Ligue 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bueno, él se los explicó.
Sí.
And so I want to ask you, Richie Wellens, when did it that he started with the team? When did he start coaching?
He started, so he came in around March 2023. I think it was that he started with us and turned our season around, got us away from the relegation zone, and really got us to a comfortable, in the end, a comfortable sort of lower mid-table finish. Yeah.
Okay. Sí, el técnico actual, Richie Wellens, él empezó en, you said, March of 23.
Sí.
Marzo del 2023, el equipo estaba en la 4ª división, en aquel momento estaba peleando inclusive el descenso, y él después los acomodó. That's around the time when I realized I didn't know that you could like watch games like online or anything, with like the other division teams.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like, I was still following the scores of Leyton Orient, but then I was watching like also Bolton because it was like, I grew up in Argentina. And so back then we started getting Premier League. I was like, I don't know what Bolton's doing. And I was like, what's Bolton doing in like 4th division?
Yeah.
And so I caught their last games. At that same time, I was following the scores of Leyton Orient. I was like, okay, Leyton Orient is doing good. So then the following season, I started seeing they were winning. And I was like, and I have my friend, he's in London. And I was telling him, like, should I watch them? I'm like, look how good they're doing. I'm like, what if I, watch a game and they lose? So I happened to watch the one game. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch them this Saturday. It was with Stevenage when they lost 3-0. I was like, oh my god. I'm like, should I keep watching them or not? And my friend was like, just watch it. Don't pay attention to all that stuff. So I'm glad they turned around and then they won the championship. Así les comento, yo, o sea, seguía los resultados de Leyton Orient, digamos, por internet, pero no sabía si podía ver los partidos por internet. Se me dio por ver lo que es Bolton Wanderers, que muchos de ustedes se acordarán, estaba en la Premier hace mucho tiempo, y los descubrí, están en la 4ª división. Entonces vi los últimos partidos de Bolton, pero a la vez sí a los resultados de Leyton Orient. Y después, bueno, la siguiente temporada, Leyton Orient arrancó con todo, también estaban primeros por varios puntos. Y decidí ver un partido contra un equipito llamado Stevenage de visitante y perdieron 3-0. Y ahí ya casi dije, no, mejor no los veo, porque tengo un amigo que está en Inglaterra y me convenció en seguir viéndolos y los vi ganar el campeonato. If there's one thing that sort of bugs me from media, because I know here in the United States, everybody talks about Wrexham, right? Like the whole time it's Wrexham.
Of course, because of Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and the main thing, like what really bothered me was when Leyton Orient won the League 2 championship that same week, Wrexham goes up and all the media attention, and there is a player on Leyton Orient, Kelman, he's an American citizen. And I was thinking, like, why is nobody talking about Leyton Orient? They're all talking about Wrexham. And I kept telling my friends, like, watch this team Wrexham. You're gonna see them now in Premier League, like in a few years. Like it's like pretty obvious what they're trying to do.
They were in the 5th tier of the English football pyramid for 11 years. They were a league club, but they got relegated and couldn't get out. And it took, I don't know how or why Ryan and Rob decided to buy Wrexham. I have no idea how it even came on their radar, who connected these two Hollywood juggernauts into a small club that you would never have heard of before. But kudos to them and credit to them. They have built the club in the right way. They've invested an awful lot of money in it, I think. Tens of millions of pounds, which you've got to be crazy to want to do that for something that you don't have an affection for. Absolutely, or how it could go. But what they've done is they've put the money in and they've employed people who know about football and how to run a football club and how to run a football team and let them get on with it and not interfered with it. They've been decision makers, but fundamentally they've allowed the football people to run the football club using their money to help facilitate that. It's not rocket science to run a professional soccer team or a professional, I'm going to say football, not soccer, but a professional sport club. If you're not a former athlete or an expert in that field, get people who are and allow them to do what they do best. Why would you interfere if you don't know?
Básicamente estamos hablando de Wrexham. Yo, bueno, es una opinión, una forma personal, la verdad que no los aguanto. Está todo el mundo hablando de Wrexham. Lo que yo, el comentario mío era misma semana que Leyton Orient consigue el campeonato de la 4ª división. Wrexham asciende y estaban todos los medios hablando acá en Estados Unidos, estaban todos con Wrexham por el tema de Burt Reynolds y todo lo demás. Y bueno, estamos comentando justamente de hacer lo que hicieron ellos pusieron mucha plata, pero contrataron gente que sabía el tema y bueno, los fueron guiando. So if we have to go back a little bit in history for people to know about the history of Leyton Orient, like how does it start?
Well, yeah, really interesting. I've got this fantastic book that, in case anybody, hold on, let me just figure out where
There you go.
There you go. Hopefully you can see that. It's a tremendous book. It's very thick. There's lots and lots of pages to it. That's exactly what it is. There's nearly 600 pages. Nilsson Kaufman was the club's historian, and he's written several books. And before we came on, I was looking up the history of Leyton Orient. We are London's second oldest football club. We were formed in 1881.
Así es, Leyton Orient es el segundo equipo más añejo de Londres. Fue fundado en 1881. And I know they had a different name in the past.
Yeah, so originally we were formed in 1881 from a place called Glyn Cricket Club. It was a local cricket club in Victoria Park, London, and from that it developed where they then had workers who um, back in that time in the 1800s, early 1900s, the dockyard, the shipping docks in London were being worked by local people, and some of those people were involved in Glyn Cricket Club, and then it evolved into a football club because cricket wasn't played in the winter, but football was, and from that, a particular group of workers used to deal with ships from the Orient, the Far East, China, places like that. Hence where Orient came from, and they moved to Clapton, and then more recently moved in 1937, moved to Leyton, which is then changed from Clapton Orient to Leyton Orient.
Oh, that's trend. I never knew. I had read Clapton Orient, but I was like, oh no. So Clapton is a town in England, right?
Clapton is near. It's a part of London that's near
Oh, okay.
Leyton.
I
Yes,
wasn't aware of that.
Victoria area.
Así, básicamente Leyton Orient arrancó en 1881. It was originally sort of a cricket club.
It started out as a cricket club in
Okay, empezó como un club
1881.
de cricket que se juega bastante en Inglaterra. Y como no se juega en invierno, empezaron a jugar al fútbol y adoptaron el nombre Orient. So they got the name Orient because of the port in
Because
London.
of the workers that started the football side worked on the ships from the Orient.
Oh, ok. Era base de los empleados que estaban ahí en la zona, trabajaban en los barcos que venían de Oriente, desde ahí nace Orient, y se llamaba en realidad Clapton Orient, pero Clapton es otra zona de Londres, y después de aquí, pues en 1937 se mudó a la ciudad de Leyton, que está en Londres, así que ahí es Leyton Orient.
And then we moved to a couple of different grounds in and around Leyton and Clapton, before eventually settling where we are now, which is Brisbane Road in Leyton, not far from the station.
Así es, Leyton Orient tuvo un par de estadios anteriormente y ahora está digamos, este estadio. When did they move to the current stadium? In what year?
Yeah, I think that was 1937.
Oh, it's a long time ago.
Yeah. It's very unusual for clubs to move grounds. To be honest, it happens because clubs outgrow, which is where we're at now. But
Yeah.
typically, if you are most clubs in England are known by the road name that the main entrance is on. So we are Brisbane Road because originally the main entrance to the club was on Brisbane Road.
Ah, ok. Así, el estadio se llama Brisbane Road porque la entrada, digamos, queda sobre esa calle. Y lo que me está comentando, o sea, Leyton Orient tiene un lindo problema, es que el club está creciendo muchísimo. El estadio tiene actualmente, ya les está quedando chico y por ahí se tienen que mudar, pero es algo un poco inusual en Inglaterra que se muden los equipos de un estadio al otro. Así que ese es otro tema que, bueno, yo me lo estoy leyendo del tema del estadio, es lo que van a hacer. I'm just mentioning how Leyton Orient, they've been growing so much. There's now issue with the stadium that we don't know, like what's going to happen, like what the
That's
next step
exactly
is
it.
going to be.
Well, the next step will be for us to acquire another site within the London Borough of Waltham Forest. So London is split into different boroughs, and we're in a borough called Waltham Forest, which is basically a council that runs a particular area. And there's I can't remember 32 boroughs London is split into 32 different areas. Each has its own council that runs it. And Waltham Forest are helping the club to find an appropriate site where we can build a sort of 15, 16, 17,000 seater stadium because we are
40,000.
40 is too big. We'll be playing in the arena, especially against Stevenage on a Tuesday night in a cup that no one really cares about anymore.
That's true. Así lo que me está contando es que Leyton Orient ya está buscando otro estadio. O sea, por lo que tengo entendido, son, digamos, 32 municipios dentro de Londres. Entonces, Leyton Orient se estaría mudando, digamos, a otro municipio. Están buscando digamos, armar un estadio nuevo. And if you had to mention like some historic players that played for Leyton Orient, who would you mention?
There are quite a few. There's another great book about this as well. My friend Matt Simpson. Hold on, let me try and find out where the. Hold on 1 second. No, this isn't going to work so well.
So you can send me a picture later.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture. It's called Leyton Orient Greats by Matt Simpson, and he lists about 10 players historically who have been fantastic for Leyton Orient. Steve Castle was a midfielder. Laurie Cunningham was a winger. And he was a tremendous player. Played for Real Madrid, the first and only Orient player to go and play for Real Madrid. We had a very famous striker called Tommy Johnston. The South Stand at Leyton Orient is named after him. We've got Peter Kitchen, who was a fantastic midfielder. Matt Lockwood, left back. Tommy Taylor. So many players over the course. We've been very lucky to have some very gifted and talented players. Don't get me wrong, we've also had a lot of not so good players as well, but we've had some really standout special talent.
And I was going to mention, because a lot of people from Argentina are going to watch this, so we're all, I mean, I'm aware that Peter Shilton was there.
So Peter Shilton made his 500th appearance in his career at Leyton Orient. I think that was more of a what's the word I'm looking for? A publicity stunt in some ways by the owner at the time, Barry Hearn, who was into putting on sort of big boxing fights and the darts, and he was a boxing promoter and a snooker promoter. And I think he liked to make a fuss, and it's no small feat. It's no small achievement that Peter made 500 career appearances over the course of time. I think he was nearly 50 at the time. So it was great, but I think that was more of a bit of a publicity stunt to have the former England goalkeeper making his 500th appearance.
Así, Peter Shilton atajó su partido número 500 en su carrera en Leyton Orient. Lo que me está contando es que había un dueño que, digamos, quería, digamos, hacer distintas cosas, más como una cosa más de publicidad para Shilton que otra cosa, y por eso él fue a atajar ahí su partido número 500 del legendario arquero inglés. And I know Harry Kane. Did Harry Kane start his career at Leyton Orient, or did he play there?
So he made his first career appearance at Leyton Orient and scored his first professional goal at Leyton Orient. We got him on loan from Tottenham Hotspur. We were his first loan, and it shows you what I know about football and many people about football. We didn't think he would go on to do what he's done. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's like really good. Así, Harry Kane salió de Tottenham, pero fue a préstamo a Leyton Orient, y su primer gol como profesional fue justamente con el Leyton Orient. Él hace poco también trató de ayudar al club haciendo algunas publicidades también. I'm just mentioning how he tried, doing some advertising and help the team as well.
Yeah, he did very well. Yeah, scored 5 goals in 10, 12 appearances, maybe off the top of my head. Yeah, he turned out all right. We'd like to think that we helped him on that journey. And fairly recently, what he did for our football club was he sponsored the front of the shirts out of his own money, and gave the space to charities that he was working with to help give them publicity and get their charity out there. So mental health campaigners, veteran support charities, things like that, good causes. He would allow them the space because he wasn't advertising himself. He didn't need to. He was at Tottenham scoring goals. He was the England captain, so he didn't need the publicity. So he did a very, very unique and fantastic, one-of-a-kind partnership with Leyton Orient to thank us for giving him the start that we gave him.
Así es, Harry Kane fue la temporada pasada, él, me acuerdo, él auspició el equipo, o sea, su propio bolsillo puso plata, y era para promocionar, digamos, ayuda contra los problemas mentales que hay ahora. O sea, él tiene también distintas funciones caritativas que él, digamos, quería, digamos, hacer publicidad para eso, pero él puso todo de su propio bolsillo, era también para ayudar al club, porque Leyton Orient, digamos, lo ayudó cuando él recién empezaba a jugar. Fue Leyton Orient que le abrió las puertas a préstamo, y Entonces él nunca se olvidó. And I was going to mention, I just blanked out for a second. I was thinking about this of Harry Kane. So, well, yeah, I was going to mention about the current season right now. I was also seeing the same thing, like how they're losing like every single game, 1-0, 1-0, 2-1. I was like, something has to change. I'm like, it can't be that losing every single game in this manner. What is it? I mean, because you guys are obviously more, you obviously follow team even more than I do. What was the big change that you noticed? Was it just winning one game also changed like the whole attitude on the team?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't honestly know the answer to that because we were not at games we were playing okay. We were playing quite well at times. We made mistakes, we got punished. But there are other times where we were just not doing very well. And then Boreham Wood in the FA Cup first round happened. We won that on penalties. And then from there on out, from after that, we lost to Huddersfield. Then we had Oldham in the FA Cup at the end of November, and we never looked back. We just flew. We
That's
played.
That's a game I didn't watch when they
Oh,
started winning.
yeah, thank you for that. We will give all the praise to you for not watching. But look, fundamentally, we started to turn a corner in November, and December we played 7 games and didn't lose any. Only drew 1.
Yeah.
Kept keeping 7 clean sheets in the process. We beat a club record of clean sheets, which propelled us from 21 to 6 in
Yeah,
the
no,
league, and we've
it's
carried it on through January as well.
It's amazing. I mean, regardless of the division, like the run that they're putting in right
Yeah,
now, it's unbelievable.
we are
Así
top of the form table.
Así estamos comentando un poco, o sea, Leyton Orient, ellos hablando un poco de la actualidad del equipo, ellos venían perdiendo todos los partidos, era por 1-0, 2-1, 1-0, y estamos tratando de analizar, o sea, cuál fue el cambio. Ganaron una serie por penales. Y después el partido donde yo les comento dejé de ver fue contra un equipo llamado Oldham. Y ese partido lo ganaron 1-0, que fue cuando dejé de verlos, porque dije, bueno, hasta que nuevo aviso dije, no los voy a ver. I gotta mention, so my wife, she knows nothing about the sport, like she doesn't know anything. Last time I've been telling her, I'm like, Leyton Orient, they're starting to win, and she's looking at me like, what is that? I'm like, no, Leyton Orient, the team I watch on Saturdays. Like, oh yeah. She's like, good job.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you expect the game to be against Manchester City? Like, what are your expectations?
It's a really good question. We are suffering at the moment with injuries. We are having some very big problems at the moment. We played Exeter City, as you know, Tuesday night. We won 6-2. And the problem that we had was Omar Beckles hurt his leg, his hamstring muscle. Ethan Galbraith, Sean Clare seemed quite severe. Dylan Marcandy, the winger, the forward player, seemed to be limping. So hopefully they'll be okay for Stockport this Saturday. Thankfully,
Very big game at Stockport.
yeah, absolutely. But hopefully we'll be okay. And then the team have a clear week. There's no midweek game before Man City. Man City have struggled this season, as most people will know. They will be playing Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the next round of the Champions League on the following Tuesday. So do they put all their first team players into this FA Cup game with us, or save some for Tuesday with their injuries and their form?
More the case.
It might be like my colleague at work supports Man City, and she said, realistically, the FA Cup is the best cup for us, like the best chance for us to win a cup this season. We're not going to win the Champions League. We're not going to win the Premier League. FA Cup is probably the one we should go for. So we'll see. Whatever side Pep Guardiola puts out, it's going to be a tough match for us. But in all honesty, it's a knockout competition. And the beauty of a knockout competition is that anyone can win it.
Yeah.
And we could cause that major upset.
Así analizando ya el partido ahora contra Manchester City, o sea, Leyton Orient está con algunas lesiones. Le ganaron a Exeter City el martes 6-2 y han sufrido algunas lesiones, entonces estamos analizando, pues Manchester City juegan este sábado, juega Leyton Orient un partido clave contra Stockport County, ¿right? Contra Stockport County. De ganar, quedan quintos en la tabla de posiciones, porque Stockport County lleva 3 puntos. Y después la semana que viene, o sea, el sábado que viene, va a ser partido contra Manchester City, pero después Manchester City juega por la Champions contra Real Madrid o el Bayern. Entonces la pregunta es, ¿qué es lo que va a hacer Guardiola? ¿Va a guardar a algunos jugadores? ¿Jugará con suplentes? ¿Jugará con titulares? Lo que él me está diciendo es que hay mucha gente en Inglaterra que sospecha que van a jugar con titulares porque ven con más posibilidad de ganar el FA Cup que la Champions. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, Leyton Orient at home is they have how do I say it? Like the field is like not the biggest, and so I know a lot of these big teams, they struggle when it comes to playing those type of field.
It's true. It's a really good point, Daniel. It's a really good point because they are not used to playing in a smaller stadium where it's going to be noisier, or it's going to be noisy, and it's all going to be quite contained. But also, our dressing rooms are not big. They are used to luxury leather chairs, their own spaces. They literally have a peg on the wall to hang their clothes on. It's not luxurious. It's not Premier League. It's small. So from that point of view, it's very much they won't be used to playing. Don't get me wrong, we're not a park, just a random park-based football club. We are a professional stadium with professional facilities, but not to the Premier League standard.
Yeah,
that would be the challenge.
Yeah, not like Manchester City or any of them.
Yeah.
Which I asked myself, would I want Leyton Orient to be like, like Wrexham did with, having Hollywood people and all this stuff like that. It's like, there's something about it that I don't like of having like that kind of sponsorship. Like they show the games of like Wrexham here, another Premier League games. I prefer, because the thing is with me, I'm in Argentina, like a team called Argentino Junior, which is also it's more like a neighborhood team. It's nothing flamboyant or anything. So I think that's why I got sort of attached to this team as well, Leyton Orient, because of the same thing. It's the same colors too. It's red and white. It's a stadium that everybody complains about being a small field. And so I know it's a bit of complaint with Manchester City. Also, they're going to cry about that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not anticipating they're going to complain about, the field is like too small. Like, what's this little, it's this little stadium. We're used to, 50, 60,000 fans.
Yeah, exactly. So, playing in big stadiums, it's not going to be that. And how will they deal with that? The pitch is obviously, the football pitch is the same size, but the surroundings are much smaller. Yeah, absolutely. But we're lucky because we're owned by a fan who has done very well. He's based out of Boston, Nigel Travis, really lovely guy, grew up round the corner to Leyton. When he was a boy, went to Leyton Orient, saved us from someone who was trying to ruin us, and has saved the club and has helped guide us back to 2 promotions and get us really within touching distance of the championship, which we haven't been in 60 plus years.
Sí, así les cuento. Leyton Orient estuvo un momento, this was, I think, 2000, because I saw a documentary, I think it was 2007, right?
We got promoted in 2006 to League One, where we stayed until we got relegated. So from League Two to League One, under the manager at the time is our current director of football, Martin Ling.
But there was another owner. I remember, as Leyton Orient at one point went up to the National League.
Yeah, so Barry Hearn owned us for many years. He bought it for, I think, £1 or £5 because the club had lots of debt at the time. The owner at that time had a very successful coffee business, a coffee plantation business in Rwanda. Civil war broke out in Rwanda and he lost his millions overnight. And we were in some financial trouble and Barry Hearn stepped in. He bought the club. He owned it for many years, and then he sold it to. So we don't mention this individual's name because we don't want that person to have the publicity. But an Italian waste management business person, and he killed the club. He literally killed the club. But then Nigel and some people that he got introduced to came and saved the club, saved us from extinction.
What year was this when it happened?
2017. 22nd of June.
Miren, recientemente, o sea, esto es todo muy reciente. En 2017, Leyton Orient was in the National League, right?
We got relegated to the National League.
Leyton Orient en 2017 descendió a la quinta división, lo que es, digamos, pues como que deja de existir, ya no te ve nadie. Y hubo un dueño italiano que hizo pelota al club, o sea, rompió todo, es un desastre con el club. Y bueno, ahora tiene otro dueño llamado Nigel Travis, que él ahora, bueno, Leyton Orient pasó de estar en la quinta división a la cuarta división, que es League 2. Estuvieron 2 seasons, right, in League 2 and now up to League 1.
Yeah, correct.
Fueron 2 temporadas en lo que es League 2, que es la cuarta división. Salieron campeones y ahora están en League 1. El año pasado terminaron, creo que décimos. También habían arrancado un poquito flojo y tuvieron después una remontada bárbara, pero se quedaron también, digamos, con un plantel corto, no pudieron ascender. I mentioned basically last season also they started off wrong and all of a sudden they went on this huge run.
Yeah.
But they ran out of legs. They didn't have the team for so many games. Son 46 fechas el campeonato de la tercera división, que es bastante. So I want to close off with this. What would you prefer? Do you prefer, I'll just put it a hypothetical.
Yeah,
winning the FA Cup, or let's just say reaching realistic, reaching semi-final FA Cup, or getting a promotion to Championship?
Promotion, right? All day long, absolutely promotion. Yeah, because a semi-final isn't a semi-final. Even winning the FA Cup, although as big as that could be, a promotion would bring us more in the long term.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we'd be playing in a higher league, be able to get bigger, better players, watching in bigger stadiums, different stadiums, watching a better standard of football. So yes, promotion all day long.
Okay, Paul. Well, I do thank you for your time. I know it's very late in England.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. And it's been a pleasure. And I hope this is able to reach more fans so that they can learn that it's not just the Premier League in England. There are many other teams in other divisions in this country. You just have to look. And we are there. And we're a family-orientated football club. We welcome children and people from all backgrounds. We're very inclusive. And we just want good people to come and support us, whether you're in our country or far away, wherever you are. We have fans all over the world: New Zealand, Australia, Africa, Europe, America, North America, South America. We have people everywhere. We're on Twitter at Orient Outlook. Find us if you want your people to be put in touch potentially with people in different countries. We might be able to help facilitate that. So let us know.
Okay, so básicamente Paul está diciendo si quieren saber más del club voy a dejar el link también en los comentarios para que puedan, digamos, ver la página de él, pero bueno, lo que está diciendo es lo mismo, o sea, el Leyton Orient es un club, digamos, acogedor, o sea, quieren, digamos, si hay gente que quiere hacerse también hinchas, obviamente son bienvenidos, así que nos veremos de paso la próxima. Recuerden de paso de suscribirse al canal. Y bueno, esperemos que Leyton Orient pegue el batacazo contra Manchester City. Que tengan un buen día. Thank you very much, Paul.
Muy bien, muchas gracias.